Thank you for watching our video. Please give us a big like, subscribe to our channel for new videos every day with amazing cars. Leave us your opinion in the comment section on the video. Thank you. Being successful the first time around is tough, but it's even harder following up an initial smash success. When the pressure is on, it's easy to screw up. It may be hard to imagine, but over the past 40 years, there have been 4 generational changes to the Mustang, not all of them good, 5 Jeep Wranglers, if we count the CJ, which you should, and 5 Chevrolet Corvettes. But there's only been one Mercedes-Benz Geländewagen. Known colloquially as the G-Wagon, and officially as the G-Class, the Bundeswehr-ready SUV was originally released in 1979 for military and civilian buyers alike. The legendary G-Class has seen plenty of minor tweaks over the years, but the 2019 Mercedes-Benz G550 and Mercedes-AMG G63 represent Benz's first attempt at a second G-Wagon. It's always daunting, reinventing an icon. But Mercedes nailed it. Mercedes largely kept the proven G-Wagon formula intact for the second-generation G. The 2019 edition keeps the old model's iconic squared-off design, its body-on-frame construction, and its live rear axle. But Mercedes made serious improvements elsewhere. The ones buyers will likely notice most are at the front axle and inside the cabin. Up front, Mercedes ditched the live axle and old-school hydraulic steering in favor of an independent front control arm suspension setup and an electric power steering system. The changes promise to significantly improve both ride and handling. Inside, Mercedes brought the G-Class interior up to S-Class levels of luxury and comfort. The new body-on-frame platform is longer than before, giving passengers increased legroom, especially in back where legroom has increased by 5.9 inches. As for what else is completely new on the 2019 G-Wagon, it's probably easier to tell you what's carried over: the rear-mounted spare tire cover, headlight washer nozzles, sun visors, and an unseen interior mounting bracket. The exterior door handles, hinges, and lock mechanisms likewise remain, ensuring the G-Wagon keeps the first-gen's rifle-like shunk of its door lock sliding shut. Some of the more noteworthy goodies are under the hood. Both the G550, called the G500 in Europe, and the G63 get a 4.0-liter twin-turbo V8 paired with a 9-speed automatic and full-time 4-wheel drive with a low-range transfer case, complete with an improved 2.93 crawl ratio, and locking center, rear, and front differentials. The G550's carryover V8 makes 416 horsepower and 450 pounds-to-foot of torque, while the G63 ditches its 5.5-liter twin-turbo V8 for a hand-built version of the 4.0-liter that makes a whopping 577 horsepower and 627 pounds-to-foot in the AMG model. An electronic adaptive suspension system designed to improve the G-Class performance both on and off-road is optional on the G550 and standard on the G63. It pairs with a more user-friendly differential system, which now include at-ready pre-lock lights letting the driver know the selected diff will automatically lock if needed, and new off-road drive modes, dubbed G-Mode. G-Mode activates whenever low range is selected or the center differential is locked. This changes the 4-wheel drive setup from the default 40-60 front, rear split, to 50-50, and it adjusts the suspension damping, if equipped, as well as the throttle and steering mapping to improve the G550's off-road abilities. The G63's version of G-Mode is more extensive, adding dedicated trail, sand, and rock settings in an effort to compensate for the G63's slightly shallower approach angle and larger standard 20-inch or optional 22-inch wheels. The G550 gets 18-inch standard and 20-inch optional wheels. All-terrain tires can be optioned on either model. and putting the G550 and G63 through their paces in southern France, I can say that, from behind the wheel, the two 2019 G-Wagons feel like the old model went to finishing school. You still have the same commanding, upright view out of the cabin, and yet the new G-Class feels remarkably modern. Of the two, the G550 is the better balanced. Its carryover V8 is given new life thanks to its 9-speed automatic. Hardly a slouch off the line in its previous form, the new G550's brisk acceleration belies its cinder block aerodynamics. The 9-speed shifts quickly and transparently, always choosing the right gear, and in sport mode it improves performance by holding gears longer, delivering rev-matched downshifts backed up by a lovely V8 soundtrack. Handling behavior is dramatically improved too. The steering rack is still on the slower side and feels a bit truck-like, a compromise made in the interest of off-road precision, but the steering feels much more accurate and delivers considerably more road feel than before. Even more impressive is the improvement in ride quality of the G550 equipped with the electronic adaptive suspension. No steel-sprung G550s were available at launch. It's softer and more forgiving, isolating occupants from bumps and bruises on the road, while mitigating body roll and improving the way the G550 goes around a corner. The G63 feels just as maniacal as the old model when you bury your foot in the throttle, with the soundtrack to match. Even when not on the gas, this hand-built V8 feels fast, with its 627 pound-foot of torque available low in the rev band. The AMG gets moving at a good clip without really having to try. The sport-oriented G63's steering is low on effort like the G550's, but high on feel. The major drawback to the G63 is its ride quality, which is far flimsier and less forgiving than its little brother. The payoff is the G63's higher cornering speeds than the G550 can manage, but I have my doubts that the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Berlin, and Beijing who flock to the AMG models will really appreciate this difference. Although most buyers of the last generation G-Class rarely took their J-Limousines off-road, the Mercedes team spent many sleepless nights ensuring that the new 2019 G-Class would be just as off-road capable as the old one. Their efforts paid off. Mercedes took us to a French countryside chateau that also doubles as a rally training course, as well as the site of the launch of the 1991 G-Wagon update and one of the many off-road testing sites for the 2019 G rather than the cursory dusty trail drives that many cautious automakers employ. Mercedes released us on an extensive off-road course that took more than an hour to complete. The Stuttgart brass deserve credit here. Most automakers design and engineer their own off-road courses for press vehicle launches, but this course was far too lengthy and extensive to have been engineered for the G's success. It included fast gravel stretches, mud, multiple water crossings, and rock crawling slopes so steep I would have personally thought twice about attempting them on my own. Equipped with factory-optional Falken Wild Peak tires on 18-inch wheels, the G550 scrambled up rocky embankments, churned through thick mud, and crawled down plunges with ease. When things got tougher, Low Range worked with the pre-lock dips to keep things moving. The pre-locking is indicated by a yellow light below each of the 3 diff switches that change to a red light on top of the corresponding differential switch as they engage. Even more impressive was the G550's off-road ride quality, which is much more balanced than before. It isolates you from impacts at low speed, and at high speed it floats overall but the sharpest impacts. It's incredibly versatile, reminding me of the Chevrolet Colorado ZR2, another off-roader equally at home scrambling up rocks as it is running fast across the open plains. The G550 doesn't mind getting wet either, despite its radiator and air intake being mounted lower than before. Fording depth has increased to 27.6 inches. The G has a new party trick. When sensors detect high water, they slam the G's air intake shut and start taking in air from the top forward corners of the hood, ensuring the engine doesn't flood. Inside, while things stay dry, a message pops up on the instrument cluster telling you not to exceed 10 km/h until you're out of the water. No matter the model, the interior of the new G-Class is worlds richer than before. Slightly quieter inside than its predecessor, the cabin features traditional luxury touches such as thick, buttery leather with attractive stitching, and modern technology touches such as a digital instrument cluster, Mercedes' latest infotainment suite, and for the first time on a G-Class, modern driver assist and safety technology. The cabin is comfortable, spacious, open, and airy front and rear. The optional active multi-kinter seat package rivals Volvo's seats for comfort and support. The cargo area grows some for the new generation, and while the rear seats fold in a 60-40 split, they don't fold flat as the rear axle impedes a bit into the cargo area. Mercedes says pricing for the new 2019 G550 and G63 will be announced closer to its late 2018 US debut, although if European prices are any indication, prices should only rise slightly. Expect to pay about $125,000 for a G550 and $140,000 for a G63. Fuel economy figures will also be released closer to launch, a small improvement over the outgoing G550's 13/14 of a mile per gallon city/highway/combined and G63's 12/14 of a mile per gallon is expected, with an anticipated hybrid model boosting things considerably in the coming years. The original 1979 to 2018 G-Class is a tough act to follow. But it seems like Mercedes spent 4 decades thinking about how to reinvent its icon for modern regulations and sensibilities, while still following the formula that made the first edition such a success. It was time well spent. The 2019 G-Class drives the fine line between evolution and revolution, capturing the spirit and personality of the original, while improving in just about every way. It may be more modern and refined than the original, but it's still unmistakably a G-Wagon, which is unquestionably the biggest compliment it can get. Thank you for watching our video. Please give us a big like, subscribe to our channel for new videos every day with amazing cars. Leave us your opinion in the comment section on the video. Thank you.